Well, guys, good evening. Welcome to our session. Tonight we have our session number 7. Well, as usual, guys, you know that in this process, we always have to run a little bit. I hope that up to this point, somehow you have already started working on the development of the virtual campus. We are going to continue working on our Unit 3. Our Unit 3 today is more about vocabulary. Remember that yesterday, we were talking about stories. On the second part, you were talking about crime and punishment, probably like refreshing your memory a little bit from this topic that we actually studied it on B1.3. Yes, if I'm not mistaken. As usual, we will be working on this reading with some vocabulary, of course, and we will have then an output. Guys, remember that then on our session on Monday will be session number 8, and we will be working on the project development. Of course, I will refresh your memory on Monday, but keep in mind that on Wednesday, we finish our cycle B1.4. Just want to like to refresh your memory a little bit. I'm going to take attendance as usual, so we can start. Give me a second while I find the chart. Today is the 12th. Karen Victoria Acevedo.
Present, teacher.
Okay.
Present, teacher.
Yes. Yes, I was adjusting the sound here. Yes, there you are, Karen. Thank you. Steven Santiago Fonseca.
Here, teacher.
Okay. Kiara Lisette Martínez.
Present, teacher.
Thank you, Kiara. Jorge Jair Moreno.
Present, teacher.
Okay. Natalia Navarro.
Present.
Yes, very good. Diego Fernando Olarte.
Present, teacher.
Okay. Manuela Ortiz.
Yes, teacher.
Okay. Joan Sebastián Paón.
Present, teacher.
Okay. Beatriz Pedraza.
Present, teacher.
Okay. Xiomara Caterina Rincón.
Present.
Okay. Jessica Paola Ríos.
Present, teacher.
Okay. Catherine Alexandra Rodríguez.
Present, miss.
Okay. Marlon Yesid Sánchez. Not here yet.
Miss, present.
Yes. No,
Here.
Marlon, dije Marlon.
Sorry.
Don't worry, no, I had already said Marlon. No, that's okay. Mendy Fabian Santa. Not here yet. Manuel Alberto Sepúlveda.
Present, teacher.
Okay. María Alejandra Vega.
Present, teacher.
Okay, and Vanessa Zambrano. Not here yet. Okay. Well, guys, as I was telling you, we're going to continue working on our Unit 3. The information and some of the exercises taken are here located on pages 32 and 33. Okay. Just want to like to refresh your memory about where the pages are. Well, guys, as you already saw on page 32, we have some headlines, okay? This is the instruction that we have. Read the newspaper headlines. You are going to choose one and explain its possible story in 40 seconds. We're going to keep it simple. Of course, we're going to keep it short. And once again, we are just making predictions, you know, technically no, in reality, we don't really know the whole story. for each headline that we have in here, but we're going to predict. First, we're going to read, okay? To make sure that, well, we know what each of these headlines mean. And then I'm gonna give you some time to think, okay? You don't have to give me the explanation like right now. For the moment, we're going to read the headlines. Just wanted to clarify that part. Beatriz, could you read the first and the second, please?
Yes, teacher. Donald walks
Mhm.
to return from injury.
Return, injury.
Injury. Heavy rain said to cause severe flooding.
That's it. Let's continue with the next two. Diego, could you read them, please?
Yes, teacher. Heavy rain set to cue several flooding.
Well, Beatriz had already read that one, like the
Ah,
third and the
excuse me.
fourth.
82 years old, breaks leg on Everest climb.
The next one too, Diego. Like 3 and 4.
Okay. PM Bucks call to Titan stoppage.
Safety. Thank you, Diego. Sebastian, could you read the next one, please? Well, actually, the 3 that we have in here.
Okay, teacher. Couple lost in maze call 999.
Mhm.
Restaurant to close after 65 years.
Mhm.
And the actor cleans in air crash.
That's it. Okay. Let's have a look at the headlines that we have in here. Give me a second. Okay. We have already read them. Let's make sure that the meaning or the idea of all of them is clear. Let's start with any possible question of vocabulary.
Maybe both teacher.
Vows.
Bound.
Vow is like to promise, basically.
Promise. Okay.
Oh, well, yeah, for the first one would be the word vow, right? Any other word from the first headline?
Yes, teacher. What is
Teacher injury.
What would be injuries? Let's see. Does any of you guys know the meaning of injury too?
Lesión. Miss.
Would be very good, like something that happened to you, a harm to the body. Excellent. So, well, I don't want to make predictions yet. What about the second heading? Is it clear?
The second, yes, teacher.
Okay. Guys, did you remember the meaning of flooding?
Inundación.
Very good. An inundation, yes. Let me do something first.
Miss number 4. To tighten.
Let's go one by one, and then
Okay.
let's look. Well, the third one, I guess, is clear, right?
Yes,
It's
Miss.
pretty
Yes,
transparent. Well, so now number 4. Well, actually, number 4 has a lot of aspects that we need to. Let me see the chat. Okay, Mandy, present, there you are. First of all, PM. PM means Prime Minister, okay? Just in case you were wondering. In this context, backs, it's a verb, you know? Like you support, or specifically would be like respaldar. And to tighten would be like to control more. That is basically the idea on that one. Well, the fourth one, I dare to say that we had like a lot of vocabulary to analyze because of the context. Is clear like the meaning of the words that I was explaining, guys?
Yes.
which is another one. And the number 5, maze, couple loves in maze.
Okay, but wait, in number 4, is everything clear now? Yes?
Yes, Miss.
Okay. Maze is a kind of labyrinth.
A kind of what?
Labyrinth.
Like laberinto.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, thank you.
That's the one. Number 6, is it clear?
Yes, Miss.
Yes.
Okay, very good. And number 7. Death toll, it's like the whole expression together. Let's put it like that. When we're talking about death toll, we're talking about total number of deaf people. And in this case, climbs means, or a synonym would be increasing. Okay?
Okay, teacher.
So
that means that after the air crash, there are more deaths appearing, right?
like there was an air crash, some people died, and the number of dead people is higher compared to the beginning.
Okay, teacher. Thank you.
Okay, very good. Great, guys. Remember what we are going to do. I'm gonna reread this instruction again. We already read the headlines. We went one by one, making sure the meaning and the intention of the words were clear. You are going to choose one. You decide which one you choose. That's up to you. And you are going to have 40 seconds, to predict the possible story of those headlines. Why 40 seconds? Well, you know that it is a good amount of time, and based on the fact that we are just predicting, it is actually okay. Remember that for the moment, we don't really need to go on very specific details, because what we are going to do is just to predict. Guys, I'm gonna give you 5 minutes, okay? Hopefully, I can ask at least 5 of you. Of course, when time's up, then I'm gonna use the timer to make sure that you take actually only the 40 seconds. Choose whichever you prefer, okay? And let's predict, the possible story of these headlines in 40 seconds. Guys, do you have any questions about instructions? Questions? That's okay. Thank you. Well, guys, 5 minutes starting now. Okay, guys, time's up. Remember the idea to give a prediction of what the story is about based on the headings in 40 seconds. So I'm gonna set the timer first. I'll let you know in a moment. Well, first of all, any volunteer before I start choosing?
Miss,
Okay, Catherine, thank you very much. Well, Catherine, 40 seconds,
number
let's
one,
start.
maybe a player that had an accident and wants to return after the injuries to play again, maybe.
Maybe.
Yes.
Okay. That was 20 seconds. Okay, Catherine, thank you. Any other volunteer?
Me, teacher.
Thank you, Beatriz.
Well,
My
For
sister.
I thought about digital teams in a crash. Maybe this event happened because the airline doesn't a good maintenance services for the airplane, and maybe happen to do about the bad climb. Is that possible?
Okay, well, I'm waiting for you to say you finish, just in case.
Yes, teacher.
Or 40
Almost.
seconds, what happens first? Okay, very good. Remember the pronunciation, Beatriz, airplane. And to talk about, let's say, the general condition, climate, that you said climb, but you meant climate, right?
Climb. Okay.
Okay, Beatriz, thank you very much. Well, this something doesn't allow me to do something that I want to do. Give me a moment. I guess it's this one. This one, yes. So Beatriz was talking about this in particular. This was Catherine's. Two more volunteers. Let's continue with Manuel and then Vanessa.
Well, I was thinking about what would come after the headline. So it could be something like the famous restaurant in the 80s claimed for the critic for the best pizzas in Manhattan, closed last week after 65 years of service.
Okay, Manuel. Manuel, it was 15 seconds. Okay. No, but anyway, we're just predicting, and that's okay. I told you 40 seconds will be like the maximum amount of time, but that is what you had in mind. Thank you. And Vanessa, what about you? Which one did you choose?
Teacher, after 20 years old on the unfortunate plane crash that happened in the region, the death toll rise to 32, and the authorities fear that they continue to find people in the rubble.
I guess to find. Well, there was a problem with the sound, Vanessa. I broke a little bit, but I got most of the idea. Okay, Vanessa, thank you. Well, did anyone choose the second one that related to the heavy rain? Don't be shy. Remember that next week we have the speaking exam of B1.4. That was from the previous one. Well, we have already listened to 1, 2, 3, 4. There is a space for one more. It doesn't matter if it is repeated or not. That's fine.
Miss,
Catherine, tell me.
a 82 years old breaks legs on maybe an old man was on an excursion and he decided to climb the Everest and break his leg because he doesn't get the protect elements. Okay.
Okay. Could be protection elements. And well, you kept it in present, which actually is one way to say this type of news. When we use present, well, generally it is supposed to be like that, no? Like the idea looks a little bit, let's say, more dramatic. It seems like it is happening in the moment, just in case. You said an old, old. Remember that old it's a vowel, it would be an old man. If we keep it in past, will be decided. If you keep it in present, will be decides. Catherine, very good. Thank you very much. Let me see the chat. Maria, so you chose the second. Would you like to share your prediction, please?
Is it happened because in a few days the weather in the city was very bad and the temperature dropped drastically and it was raining for almost a week. It probably caused several flooding. The people didn't drive fast in the street.
Okay, Maria, I have to stop you. Nice, very good. The pronunciation, temperature. It's a tricky word, but it's temperature. Very good. Let's see if we get a different story for number 2, Jorge. What about you?
Okay, teacher. I think that in this case, it could have rained for a long time in a specific part of a city. The mayor could have ordered to evacuate the people in some zones of the city for the security. Then the authorities start draining the water of the streets, and also they call other institutions to help the people with food and other things that they could need.
Okay, Jorge, very good. Good timing. There's a pronunciation of 2 words, the mayor and the authorities started.
Okay, teacher.
Great, Jorge, thank you very much. Anyone choose the one from the prime minister or the one in the maze? Manuela.
No, teacher. Actually, I have one more prediction for the second one.
Okay, go.
Okay. In Florida, heavy rain caused flooding. Many people lost all their belongings. Unfortunately, there were no human loss, and material loss climbed to $85 million according to the preliminary reports.
Okay. Fortunately, you said unfortunately, no. That would be similar to Spanish. In English, it's starting with from the F. Good, Manuela. Excellent. So, Prime Minister Mays. Okay. Guys, thank you very much. Actually, I was expecting to ask only a few of you. I know that sometimes these type of things get to be a little bit scary, but you know that's the way we practice and we improve. Probably we make mistakes, pronunciation, a couple of things, but everything can be corrected. The idea, guys, is that hopefully you lose the fear a little bit every single day. These were like, let's say, headlines in general. As you already noticed on our book, we're going to read about 3 stories in a specific. Guys, for the moment, do not look at the readings on your books. We're gonna make predictions just with the information that I took from the book. I'm going to read the instruction for you. It says, look at the newspaper headlines and introductions. Make 2 guesses about what is happening on each story. For example, from the first one. I think the woman in the photo has won the lottery. Let's see only the information that we have here with the headings and the introductions. And I'm going to ask you to help me reading, of course. Jessica, could you read from the first story, the heading and the introduction, please?
Yes, teacher. Couple arrest after feeding winning lottery tickets.
Finding.
A couple from Swindon
Swindon.
who found a winning lottery ticket on the floor of a shop and collect the 30,000 price have been arrested.
30,000 pounds. Remember, finding the pronunciation. Thank you, Jessica. What about the second one, Xiomara? Could you read it, please, the title and the introduction?
Leon worker faced 5 years in jail, and Michigan men face hacking charges over White's email.
That's it. Very good. Let's have a look at the third heading and introduction. It's quite short, actually. Vanessa, could you read it, please?
Yes, teacher. Mr. Hamilton posts photo on his own experiment on the internet. As we confess to crazy homemade experiment.
Okay, sweet. This one.
Okay, sweet.
Good.
Thank you, teacher.
Thank you. Swede is a nationality, guys. Okay, there is a person from Sweden, just in case, but I know that the word is very transparent in English and the connection with the country. What will be this nationality in Spanish, guys? Swede.
Sueco.
Very good. And especially in this case that it is masculine. So once again, we are making predictions, but compared to the previous exercise, now we have a little bit of extra information. In this case, the idea is to make 2 guesses from the, well, only the headings. I'm not going to say that the pictures actually tell us a lot of information. And with the mini introduction that each heading has. Once again, I'm going to give you 5 minutes, and then we're going to share those predictions that you have for the moment with these stories. Guys, do not read the articles on the book yet. Are the instructions clear?
Clear.
Thank you, guys. 5 minutes starting now.
Teacher, the prediction is only for one of them.
You can choose one, just one. You decide which one would you like to predict about. Okay.
Only one guesses for the 3 conjectures, teacher.
Like, for example, you choose the second story and you make the prediction about it. So all of us can share. You decide which of the stories would you like to make the predictions about. Yeah, although I said each, better choose one because of time. Everybody's going to share their opinion, of course. Okay, let's see the predictions that you made now for these three stories in particular. Here we have, let's start with the first one. So, which of you guys, don't forget to raise your hand, made predictions about the first story?
Me, teacher, for about fuse story.
Okay, Beatriz, and then Santiago, and then Natalia.
Okay, for the first prediction, sorry, I think the couple have been searching for police, so they want to get of the money. The system have identified the personality.
Sorry, had identified.
The couple have been searching for police.
Police or police?
So they, police, teachers,
Police, okay, yes, okay.
Police. So they went to get of the money. The system have identified the personality.
Identified the personality?
Oh, yeah, teacher. El sistema había identificado los personajes.
Ah, Beatriz, personality es personalidad.
Ah, sorry, teacher. How do you say personajes?
Characters.
Characters?
That is a possibility.
Okay, sorry.
Okay. Yeah, I was wondering, like, a system that identifies personalities.
Okay. The system has identified the characters. Then the police arrive and
arrested them. Okay. Beatriz, thank you. That's the first prediction. Santiago, I guess that you were second.
Yes, teacher. Well, I guess, well, obviously the real winner lost his ticket. The couple was walking in a shop and find it, and he shouldn't do it, but they take the price of 30,000 bucks, and well, they were arrested because that is supplant the identified of a person, because if I am not wrong, to get the prize of a lottery of a competition, you have to do and you have to give your ID identified and to be the I forget how to say comprador.
Buyer.
The buyer of the place in the competition. So I guess they were, well, obviously they were arrested because they supplant the identify of the real winner.
Okay, they supplanted the identity of the real winner. And you said find it. I guess you meant found. Encontraron, right?
Okay, teacher.
And they took, yeah, don't worry. That happens like in the moment of speaking, and then we like realize, okay, I choose a different word. Thank you, Santiago. I don't remember who the third person was. Also with the first prediction, and then Natalia, I think? Yes, Natalia.
Okay, the first, in my opinion, the couple in the photo had been arrested, but with a part of the money, they paid a bail to be realized. Released. And the other is after be released, the couple went on a trip around the world with the money that they had left over.
Okay, interesting. After being released. Very good. Very good, Beatriz, Santiago, Natalia. Let's move to the second story. Which of you guys made predictions about the story number 2? Diego, you raise your hand?
Teacher.
Okay, Jorge, yes.
I think that the man could have stolen personal information about his wife from her email because he was searching for data of her work because his wife is a lawyer.
A lawyer.
A lawyer. And the man that she was trying to take to prison, he decided to pay her husband for delete those information.
Her husband. Oh, okay. Nice prediction, Jorge. Thank you. Let's see the chat. Okay. Any other possible prediction for the second story?
Me, teacher.
Okay, Karen, tell us.
I think the man suppose her wife was cheating on him. So he decided to hack her email, and he was right. So he faced his wife, and his wife decided to demand to the police.
Demandar es su.
Suit. Sorry, suit at the police his husband. Her husband.
Good. Nice, Karen. Thank you very much. Interesting prediction. Any other possibility for the second one, guys? Okay, let's move to story number 3. Some people haven't spoken at all, and it's already 6:48, not even from the first part. Vanessa, what about you?
Teacher, I think that Mr. Hunt is a man who is passionate about science and has made a laboratory at home, and the authorities ensure that his laboratory complies with regulation, safety regulation. Second, I think that Mr. Hunt is a chemist who usually does experiments at home. You play the video to the internet.
Okay, well, there was a little problem with the sound again. In this case that you said the laboratory, you say accomplish, I think that you meant cumple, right? But it would be more appropriate to say that the laboratory like obeys. In this case, talking about like it has the proper rules and regulations like to operate. I think that's more the point that you mean, right, Vanessa?
Okay.
Yeah, just like the shoes of the accomplished in this case. But interesting prediction. Any other prediction for the second one before we go to the book? Third one, sorry, third one. Okay, well, tonight has been the night of predictions. So far, so good. We're going to have a look at the book, guys. Remember that we are working on page, my notes. I was writing down your answers. This is page 32. I'm going to read the instruction for you. We're going to focus our attention on this first exercise that we have in here. It says, choose the best word to complete the phrases below. Which article do you think each phrase comes from? For the moment, we are not going to do the second part of the instruction, okay? We're going to focus our attention only on the first part. Only to complete. Of course, while you read the statements, you will notice that they are related to the story that we are about to read. We are just predicting. Keep that in mind. We will check that part eventually. So for the moment, choose the word that you consider actually completes the story. Guys, did you have any questions about the instruction?
No, teacher.
Thank you very much. I'm gonna give you 6 minutes starting now. Well, guys, time's up. Remember that for the moment, we are just predicting based on the predictions that you made at the beginning. And of course, in a moment, we're going to read the stories and we will eventually see, well, not like see, we will eventually discover if our predictions were correct. For the moment, we're going to read just what you chose. Diego, could you read number 1?
Yes, teacher. Climb a price.
We'll see. Sebastian, number 2.
Build a nuclear reactor.
Okay, we'll see. Well, I'm gonna point out the ones that you choose. Oh my God. Okay, reactors is 1. John, sorry. Jorge, what about number 3?
Tell me, teacher.
Which one did you choose in number 3?
Violate someone's privacy.
Violate someone's privacy.
Privacy.
Okay, that's it. Karen, what about number 4?
Number 4 is access someone's email address.
You think it's address, okay. Number 5, Catherine.
Reimburse a debt.
Guys, did you look for the meaning of reimburse?
Reembolsar.
Reembolsar.
That's it. Number 7, Kiara.
Split an atom.
Sorry, number 6, my mistake.
Okay. Go through a divorce.
That's it. Manuel, what do you think number 7 is? Manuel?
Yes, teacher.
Number 7, which one do you think it is?
Split an atom.
That's it. What do you think about number 8, Manuela?
By radioactive materials.
Radioactive.
Radioactive.
That's it. And number 9, Maria.
Biodeath.
Okay. These are the predictions that we have for the moment. Now, we're going to move to the collaborative part of the session. Probably you had already imagined that this was like the modus operandi of tonight. Guys, there will be 3 different breakout rooms, okay? Group A, you are going to read the first story. Well, story A, couple arrested after finding winning lottery ticket. Group B, you are going to read story B. Group C, you are going to read story C, okay? The idea, guys, is that as a group, of course, you are going to read the article and then you are going to go to the book on page 32. In this case, you are going to do the activity that we have on part 3A. I'm going back to the book. It is very important, guys, that you pay attention only to the questions related to your article. That means that, as you're already noticing here, people who are reading the article A, you only do part A. The ones that read part B, you're going to read these statements, that is from 5 to 8. And the ones reading story C, you are going only to have a look at the statements from 9 to 12. What you're going to do, guys, with these statements is to decide which statements are true or false, okay? So one more time, you will be divided into 3 different groups. Each group is in charge of reading only one article. Group A, story A. Group B, story B. Group C, story C. You read the article as a group, and then on your book on page 32, you are going to decide which statements are true or false. Remember, number 1 to 4, group A, group B from 5 to 8, group C from 9 to 12. Guys, do you have any questions about the instructions?
No, teacher.
Okay, I was going to say silent means no question. So I'm going to create the 3 breakout rooms. Of course, 1, 2, 3. You will be sent at random. I think we don't have repeated accounts tonight, right? Just in case, let me check. Very good. Guys, because each group is in charge only of one story, you will have 15 minutes and that's it. Remember, read the story and decide which statements are true or false, and that's it. Let's start. Kiara and Mandy.
Hi, teacher. I think we have already done the activity. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I was waiting for that horrible motorcycle to pass by. Let's see. How you analyze the statements based on the story that you guys read. And also after we check if it is true or false, sorry, we're going to see if your predictions actually match the idea of the three stories. I said stories, I said articles, but you know what they mean. Let's begin with group A. That was the first story. That means that was group from room number 1. Vanessa, could you read the first statement, please?
After reading, ¿es eso?
My mistake. I'm not sharing the screen with the, yes, no. Sorry. We're going to read the sentence, my mistake.
Okay. Amanda knew it was a winning ticket when she found it.
That was true or false?
It's false. Because the text took it home to her husband. They discovered that it was a winning ticket.
Vanessa heard until they discover.
They discovered that it was a winning ticket.
That's it. Very good. Number 2, Natalia, please.
The Stacy's spend all the money. That's false. They spend the middle of the money.
Half. Not the middle, half.
Okay, half.
Well, the
And
L is silent, half.
And what is the difference between middle and half, or when I should use?
Middle is en medio. Half is more like for quantity. Although it looks like from the family, you know, like 50%. In this case, because of quantity, will be half of 50%. But middle will be like a point in distance.
Okay.
Yeah, good. Thank you, Natalia. Number 3, Marlon.
Number 3, Dorothy had proof it was her ticket.
True or false?
Give me a second. Ay, lo tenía que apuntar y se me borró.
That's not an excuse, Marlon.
Dorothy, yes. He saved, what do you say? Your receipt.
She kept the receipt.
Yes.
That's the one. Thank you, Marlon. And Kiara, number 4. Kiara. Is she here? Not really. Catherine, number 4.
Yes, Miss. Number 4. Camilo think Dorothy should have been more careful. True. He said they remind players it is their responsibility to keep tickets safe.
That's it. Perfect. Very good. Thank you. Group number 1. Group number 2, Xiomara, could you read number 5, please?
Yes, teacher. Number 5, the minimum punishment is 5 years in jail. Is true.
Is it 5 years?
Is 5 years in jail.
Okay.
Is true, teacher.
Okay. That's it. I thought it was different. We'll see. Number 6, Mandy. Mandy? Let me see the chat. Okay. Maria Alejandra, 6.
Yeah. Leon and Clara were still living together. Is true because they were in the process of divorcing at the time, but were still living under the same roof.
Very good. Okay. Just to clarify, I get what you said true. The thing is that in the previous one, in number 5, because it says up to 5 years. What is the idea of this phrase, up to 5 years?
Hasta, Miss?
Yes, that's the thing, that maybe the maximum could be 5, but maybe it actually could be less. So in number 5, it says that the minimum is 5. And no, actually it's not the minimum, it's the maximum. Okay. So that is why I was like doubting your answer. That means that number 5 is false. Okay, guys. So number 5 is false. Number 6 is true. Manuela, number 7, please.
Okay, teacher. Number 7, Leon wasn't Clara's first husband. Is true, teacher. It's true.
Very good. And number 8, Diego.
Okay, teacher. Most people under 25 read their partner's email. It's false because in the last paragraph, it says 38% of under 25 years. It's only 38. It's not a majority of the people.
That's it, Diego. Very good. And group number 3. That means that you were in charge of part C. Jessica, could you read number 9, please?
Number 9, had told the authorities what he was doing. Is true.
He sent an email and stuff. Santiago, what about number 10?
10, he published the fact he was doing the experiments, and that's false. We consider that was false because he doesn't publish it. He shared pictures and some events in his blog.
But Santiago, it doesn't say published.
Well, but published is not like mega promotions in TV commercials and things like that. Well, we consider that.
Notice that it says publicized, not published.
Okay.
That's the thing, probably that's like the perspective. But not, but you know, that would be like the first definition, or what, one of the definitions that it has, like to promote, you know, to advertise. But another definition that it has is like to make something public, to make something known to the public, you know? So it is not necessarily related to business. Probably that would be like the definition that is more common for the word, but it is not the only one. It is related also to just like reveal information to the world. Let's put it like that. Okay?
In general.
Okay.
So
So it is absolutely very good.
Miss, finally, is true or false?
It is true. Yeah, because it doesn't have, or the definition that we're using in here is not about making money. It's just like to present the information to the general public, let's put it like that. And as Santiago said, he put some images and information in his personal blog, and that's publicized. Manuel, number 11, please.
Number 11, he doesn't have the nuclear materials anymore. That's true.
Well, if it is true. And Sebastian, number 12, please.
He plans to do more experiments in the future. Okay, I think is false.
And what's the information to support it? Because the true ones, well, it is like what it is. But in the case of the false, well, what is then the, let's say, the final information that he's sharing? So you guys decided that number 12 is false. Or anybody from the group?
Well, teacher, we guess that in the text that didn't say something about it. We thought that he doesn't play yet, do other experiments in the future. We guess that.
Well, actually, the information is a little bit more explicit. Notice that at the end he says he has promised to stick to reading books about physics to satisfy his curiosity. Making like
curiosity. Okay.
Like talking about, okay, no more experiments, only reading.
Okay.
Yeah, teacher.
Sorry.
Sorry, teacher. It doesn't say that he is planning to do anything else. It just says that he will be reading.
Okay. I kind of disagree, but okay. Because the fact that he says stick to reading books, that means that he won't do anything, let's say, practical, but I see your point. It is not explicit, but somehow we can infer. But it is false. That is like the important part, the extra information that remains to us. Very good. Well, guys, remember that before we started reading, we were making some predictions, with these statements. And I'm sure that you already noticed the real answer for them. I'm going to give you a couple of minutes to check the answers that you guys had already shared when I asked you first. Of course, up to this point, you are a little bit more experts, on some answers than the others. And then we're going to see if actually your predictions were correct. Remember, these were the answers that you chose first before reading the texts. You have already read the texts. Now we're going to, let's say, check if your predictions were correct. I'm going to give you 2 minutes, starting now, and we'll see. Okay. Well, guys, in the first one, you had price, we have reactor, we have privacy. For the moment, you said address, debt, divorce, atom, materials, and debt again. After reading the stories, do you have exactly the same predictions or now you have a different answer?
A different, Miss.
Okay, Catherine, which one do you have different? Tell me one of the different ones that you already discovered. Let's put it like that.
Number 4, access someone email account.
Very good. In this case, it's account, it's not the address. Any other, guys, that it's different after reading the stories? There are more.
Yes, teacher. In my case, the number 5, I will choose a person instead debt.
Very good. What's the meaning of debt, guys?
Deuda.
That's it. We have. Do we have any other? Okay. That was it. Those are the changes. Now, actually, the answers match the information that we have already listened. Well, guys, we're gonna listen how the story finishes. The 3 stories, actually. We're gonna listen to them. Only one person was not charged, you know? Guys, which of them do you think was actually not charged? Because after reading, all of them probably were going to be prosecuted. Which one do you think was not charged?
Maybe a couple.
The couple, you think, Catherine? Okay.
I think.
Could be. Any other prediction, Manuel? Who do you think was not charged?
I think the same, teacher, maybe the couple, because the other two, I think they could be charged.
Okay, very good. We're gonna listen, you know, and that's how we're going to end our session. Let's see the 3 stories to explain what happened in the end. Well, we're going to see if actually due to, guys, the predictions that you made match what happened if the first ones were not charged. Let me share sound. Let me adjust it.
Unit 3, recording 8.
And we're gonna listen twice.
Yes, Miss.
Reporting live from outside the courthouse in Swindon is our reporter Deborah Manning.
Thank you, Jackie. Judge Mark Horton handed down suspended sentences of 11 months in jail each to Amanda and Michael Stacey today, following a trial in which the couple were found guilty of fraud and theft. The charges related to an incident 9 months ago when Amanda found a lottery ticket on the floor of her local co-op supermarket. Amanda and her husband claimed the £30,000 prize when the ticket won. Unfortunately for them, the real owner of the ticket, Dorothy McDonough, realised that she had lost the ticket and immediately informed the police. At the trial, it emerged that the Staceys had already spent half the money. The judge ordered them to repay the remaining £15,000 to Mrs. McDonough, along with £111 interest. He did not, however, order them to repay the £15,000 they had already spent, instead just imposing a £5 fine. Mrs. McDonough will have to take the Staceys to court to get that money, and after legal fees, it is doubtful that she would see much of it. Back to you, Jackie.
B. Now, Robin, I believe you have a further update on the Leon Walker story.
That's right, Greg. Leon Walker, you'll remember, was the man from Rochester Hills in Michigan who was charged back in 2010 with hacking into his wife's email account. He maintained his innocence, but his wife Clara went on television to talk about how violated she had felt. Well, Greg, 2 years after Leon was charged and right before he was due to go on trial, prosecutors have unexpectedly dropped the charges against Leon. And the reason? It turns out that Clara had been reading her husband's text messages while they were still married and had admitted to this in an email. Leon described himself as relieved but angry.
Astonishing news. Now, over to our sports desk where Jamie has some news about David Beckham and...
C.
And I have our science correspondent, Robert Walsh, here in the studio with me. Robert, before we catch up on all the latest developments in the world of science, can you tell me what happened to Richard Handel?
Yes, absolutely, Don. Well, as our listeners probably remember, Richard Handel was the man who tried to set up a mini nuclear reactor in his kitchen. Using radioactive materials that he'd bought, Mr. Handel attempted to split the atom, and he posted the results online, along with the now famous picture of his cooker after the experiment.
Yes, I remember that.
Of course, when the police were alerted to what Mr. Handel was doing, they confiscated all his nuclear material and his computer. Mr. Handel faced the prospect of up to 2 years in prison. So, as you say, Don, what has happened to him? Well, the answer is absolutely nothing. Since they confiscated his radioactive material several months ago, neither the police nor the Swedish Radiation Authority have been in touch. So it looks like Mr. Handel won't be prosecuted after all.
Well, that's good news for amateur scientists, I guess. Now, on to this week's other science stories, Rob.
Unit 3, Recording 8. A.
Reporting live from outside the courthouse in Swindon is our reporter Deborah Manning.
Thank you, Jackie. Judge Mark Horton handed down suspended sentences of 11 months in jail each to Amanda and Michael Stacey today, following a trial in which the couple were found guilty of fraud and theft. The charges related to an incident 9 months ago when Amanda found a lottery ticket on the floor of her local co-op supermarket. Amanda and her husband claimed the £30,000 prize when the ticket won. Unfortunately for them, the real owner of the ticket, Dorothy McDonough, realised that she had lost the ticket and immediately informed the police. At the trial, it emerged that the Staceys had already spent half the money. The judge ordered them to repay the remaining £15,000 to Mrs. McDonough, along with £111 interest. He did not, however, order them to repay the £15,000 they had already spent, instead just imposing a £5 fine. Mrs. McDonough will have to take the Staceys to court to get that money, and after legal fees, it is doubtful that she would see much of it. Back to you, Jackie.
B. Now, Robin, I believe you have a further update on the Leon Walker story.
That's right, Greg. Leon Walker, you'll remember, was the man from Rochester Hills in Michigan who was charged back in 2010 with hacking into his wife's email account. He maintained his innocence, but his wife Clara went on television to talk about how violated she had felt. Well, Greg, 2 years after Leon was charged and right before he was due to go on trial, prosecutors have unexpectedly dropped the charges against Leon. And the reason? It turns out that Clara had been reading her husband's text messages while they were still married and had admitted to this in an email. Leon described himself as relieved but angry.
Astonishing news. Now, over to our sports desk where Jamie has some news about David Beckham and...
C.
And I have our science correspondent, Robert Walsh, here in the studio with me. Robert, before we catch up on all the latest developments in the world of science, can you tell me what happened to Richard Handel?
Yes, absolutely, Don. Well, as our listeners probably remember, Richard Handel was the man who tried to set up a mini nuclear reactor in his kitchen. Using radioactive materials that he'd bought, Mr. Handel attempted to split the atom, and he posted the results online, along with the now famous picture of his cooker after the experiment.
Yes, I remember that.
Of course, when the police were alerted to what Mr. Handel was doing, they confiscated all his nuclear material and his computer. Mr. Handel faced the prospect of up to 2 years in prison. So, as you say, Don, what has happened to him? Well, the answer is absolutely nothing. Since they confiscated his radioactive material several months ago, neither the police nor the Swedish Radiation Authority have been in touch. So it looks like Mr. Handel won't be prosecuted after all.
Well, that's good news for amateur scientists, I guess.
Well, guys, and to finish, so which of the three stories or which person didn't get charged? A, B, or
Mr.
C?
Handel.
Mr. Handel, please.
Sí, teacher, yep.
Very good. Well, our prediction changed a little bit. Well, guys, as usual, thank you very much. I don't want to take up more of your time. Please, guys, don't forget, one, the activities in the virtual campus. Remember that on Wednesday, we have our final exam. Guys, see you on Monday. Bye-bye.
Bye. Good night, everyone.
Take care, everybody.
See you.